Hey, what's up, guys? Chubby Retro back again with another issue of EGM. This time we're looking at February 1998, issue 103. And as you guys can see, it's about the 10 best multiplayer games out at that time. Also, there's a Zelda 64 hands-on preview and 007 Leaps to PlayStation. First information on that. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. I always like to kind of show, as you can see, this one is not that thick of a magazine. So as we open it up, then we have a 3-page fold-out ad teaching CPR for gamers. The reason for that is because of the lineup that's here. It's going to cause victims to faint. Fighting Force, Ninja, Tomb Raider 2, and Death Trap Dungeon. So I don't have experience with this Death Trap Dungeon or Ninja. Fighting Force I've played, and Tomb Raider 2 obviously. We have the editorial page along with the, what is this, 5-disc Riven sequel to Myst, coming to PlayStation. 5 discs. Well, I didn't realize that was such a big game. And it was all just like pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff, and you were just really moving slowly through the game. So I don't understand why it would be 5 discs, but I mean, there's a reason for that. We have the obviously fighting game from Star Wars for PlayStation, 2-page ad that we've seen in the past. The contents page here with the previews of let's see, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, F-Zero X, NBA basketball, which probably was courtside, Breath of Fire 3, R-Type, Tekken 3, Alien Resurrection. And then the evolution of arcades with, I believe this is Crispin Boyer, if I'm not mistaken. And it's doing some kind of suspicious stuff there. But so let's take a look. 2-page ad for steep slope sliders for the Sega Saturn. Of course, we have the letter of the month, the EGM letters. Here we have an ad for Snowboard Kids, which was a really, really highly rated snowboarding game for the Nintendo 64. I think it was better than 1080 snowboarding. But you know, I never had this game. I should look for it in the secondary market. I wonder what it runs for. More letters, and we have Mass Destruction, Sega Saturn and PlayStation advertisement. Question of the moment: what are your thoughts on censored director cuts? And this person says, censored director's cuts, what an oxymoron. I would agree. And we have some artwork here. Really, really nice stuff. Good artists. That's really, really good. The Boomerang gamepad for PlayStation. Now, 2-page ad here for Pitfall 3D that actually shows screenshots of the game. The medium is the message. Nintendo proves that the DD is more than just your average add-on. So an article talking about the potential for the 64DD add-on that never came out in the States in terms of space, disk space, load times, and different accessories. Nintendo 64 mouse, a capture cassette, voice recognition system. And this is all from the Nintendo Space Roadshow in Japan. Then we have, what is this? Heat.net. Take it to the net. Netfighter, the only fighting game on the internet. Oh, so this must have been a game or a service. Oh yeah, it's a service because it says other favorite games on Heat.net. Quake, Hexen 2, Outlaws, Diablo. Sega Channel is ending the broadcast day. Playing with Digital Poison. Oh, the rating system. Alundra for PlayStation. X marks the spot. So this is, oh, that new X system that they were talking about that was going to come out and supposedly just blow all the other systems out of the water. I don't think it ever did. I remember Project X, and I remember mock-ups. An ad for Newman Haas Racing, which was an F1 game. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, the story so far. Enix brings Dragon Quest to the Game Boy. Yamochi says stop playing dull games. I agree. And then PlayStation Tennis Arena game. 2-page ad here for Earthworm Jim 3D. PlayStation, Microsoft Windows, and Nintendo 64. He was retired and he wants to come out of retirement. Video game gossip, he's mine. No, he's mine. Talking about, what are they talking about here? Fox Sports label. Westwood, but EA wouldn't. Quickies, PlayStation 64 tidbits. And an ad for the PlayStation Ray Tracers. We saw this ad in a previous magazine. I would rather be the car in front than the two that are hidden in the dirt. And then, of course, the same ad for the surround sound system. And then a first look from the Tokyo Space World game show for Ocarina of Time. It says it's 70% done. And as you can see here, it does look like the retail copy that ended up being released. Even down to the character menus and stuff there. Yeah, so I mean, this was a pretty finished game here. Even Ganon, you can see, looks the same. There's some talk about the 64DD version, which I don't know if that was going to be a new quest or if it was going to be an updated version of it. But yeah, this all ends up being in the final version that gets released. Epona. Now the question is Ocarina of Time overrated? I saw the Pixel Game Squad do a short about it, asking people at a convention, is Ocarina of Time overrated? I don't think it is. I think it was better than Majora's Mask. I didn't like Majora's Mask. That time crunch, it just makes the game kind of difficult. MRC Racing, once again, a game that's like a rally racer / arcade racer. Gex, Enter the Gecko, which is a 3D version of the game for Nintendo 64 and PlayStation. And of course, some more screenshots here of Ocarina of Time, and it's showing the different versions from NES and Super NES and Game Boy. An ad for Aero Fighters Assault. A preview of F-Zero X, which is a fast game. Once again, also discussing, I guess, a version for the, or an add-on for the 64DD that I believe was released in Japan but was never released here. And then a ad for Mesa Dark Age, a fighting game that was on PC and Nintendo 64. A lot of Nintendo news, NBA basketball, which ended up being NBA Courtside with Kobe Bryant. 1080 snowboarding, and then Mario Artist. This, I believe, was a 64DD game, and it was not released here. Then we have Duke Nukem 64 and Duke Nukem Total Meltdown, an ad for both games. 2-page ad. Yoshi's Story, Super Mario RPG 2, Mother 3, Aero Gauge, which is a game that I was interested in, and Tonic Trouble, which is another game that I was interested in. I did not play either one when they were first announced. Wetrix and Fighter's Destiny. Continuing the ad for the surround sound that they're tying in, obviously, because it is Sony, they're tying it into the PlayStation console. One of the best multiplayer games out of that generation, of that era. GoldenEye 007, fun game. My only other experience better than GoldenEye 4-player with your, family or cousins or friends, I can only think of the first Gears of War, playing online with buddies. That was a fun time. It's a moment in time, but it was fun. Some Saturn previews here. Burning Rangers, an ad for Colony Wars on PlayStation. And then we have the Winter Games, Nagano Winter Olympics 98 for PlayStation N64, a 2-page ad from Konami. Now we have some PlayStation previews and an ad for Punky Skunk, Breath of Fire 3, which was an RPG. And then this looks like it was Punky Skunk, like a 2D side scroller. Oh, Think or Die. Uh-oh. That's that game again? Ninja, Masters of Monsters, and R-Types. It is. It's Intelligent Cube. They should bring this game out on mobile. I'm sure, you know, the phones nowadays can handle this game, and this seems like I'm kind of interested in playing it now. They should release this on mobile, unless they already have. Tekken 3 for PlayStation. Third installment of that storied fighting game franchise. Skull Monkeys, it looks like it's a claymation style, like Clay Fighter 63 in a third game. It's like a side scroller, if I'm not mistaken. Cool ad. Bushido Blade 2, Rascal, and Riven. And an ad for WCW NWO. Alien Resurrection C, which was it Contra? Yeah. And then Arcade Greatest Hits and The Fifth Element, with obviously an ad for WCW Nitro. 2-page ad for Critical Depth. Arcade preview, Rival Schools, Last Blade, Tomorrow Never Dies, and then an ad for some retail establishments. Star Wars Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight on, I think, PC. It's a nice ad. Lightsaber, keep it simple. And then once again, look at now we're going back to the same. Look at how many PlayStation games are coming soon in February of 98. How many N64 games, and look at 4 Saturn games. This should have been, start seeing the demise of the Saturn. Dead or Alive, the fighting game. Glenn Rice in the Zone 98, like I mentioned. We bought that game because we were hungry for a basketball game, and I think we returned it. It was so bad. So Back to the Future, EGM takes a time-tripping look at the evolution of arcades. So it looks at, I mean, they were arcades back in the 20s and 30s. I mean, they were different. They weren't obviously video games, but they were popular, the penny arcades and what have you. And then they died. And I think the resurgence could be attributed to like the Space Invaders, Donkey Kong. I think that's what got people back in there, you know? Because I remember arcades being the thing when I was a kid. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, I mean, at every pizza shop you would play. Ad for Tomb Raider. I mean, we used to walk to a pizza spot and get a slice of pizza, soda, and we'd sit there and play Street Fighter. So they were popular. An ad for G Police, which is like a comic book, but it has some screenshots here for CD-ROM and PlayStation. So this is Olympic Hockey 98. 10 games you should not play alone. So this is the multiplayer feature that's in this magazine. International Superstar Soccer. Yes, that was a fun multiplayer game for the Nintendo 64, and the 4-player ports, or the 4 controller ports, make it so much easier for you to just hop in and play. Worms, I never played that. Twisted Metal, yes, that's a good multiplayer. Obviously Street Fighter, I never played Point Blank. Madden, of course. And NBA Live 98, yes. Mario Kart, of course. Number 2 is GoldenEye, and number 1 is the Saturn Bomberman. Yeah, Bomberman's fun. Bomberman's fun, multiplayer. We have an ad for 1 here. What are some of your guys' favorites, favorite multiplayer games? Go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section. I'm curious to see what you guys have played in the past. And then let's see the games. We'll go through this quickly. Bomberman 64 ratings, Chameleon Twist, MK Myth Sub-Zero, Robotron 64, Enemy Zero, Last Bronx, NHL All-Star Hockey 98, Quake, and Sega Touring Car. Once again, an ad. Crash Bandicoot 2. Now I remember I tried to get this ad when I was younger. I tried to pose for it, but they said I was too fit for the actual ad. I would make these guys look bad, so they did not hire me. But yeah, I tried to be part of that ad, but I guess I was too big. That's a joke, guys. Sonic R, Steep Slope Sliders, World Ride Soccer 98, Alundra, Midway Collection, and Armored Core. An ad here for the Mad Cat steering wheel. Now it says it had built-in force pack for the Nintendo 64. I don't know if it did. I don't recall. I had it for the Nintendo 64, and I don't recall if it had that force pack. Maybe it did. Auto Destruct, Broken Sword, FIFA, Road to the World Cup 98, Ghost in the Shell, Load Runner, and Micro Machines for PlayStation here. An ad for Felony 1179. Some Monopoly, Monster Rancher, NBA Fast Break 98, Nightmare Creatures 1, and Ray Tracers for PlayStation. Real Fishing, Shipwrecker, Spawn, Tennis Arena, and WCW Nitro. And the Nintendo wireless headphones. Okay, I thought those were Nintendo brand, like official, but they're not. But I guess they were good. They got a silver. An ad for the videogames.com website. Let's see here. The overall top 3 for that month were Alundra for PlayStation, Last Bronx for Saturn, and Diddy Kong Racing for N64. So you had each system represented in the top 3. You have PlayStation Underground, which I was not a member of. And then you get to the strategies for the hottest games for Diddy Kong Racing. I don't like how they changed the format to this. I feel like it kind of makes it harder if you're playing the game and trying to read this as well. And then you have some tricks of the trade here for Colony Wars, Tomb Raider, Duke Nukem 64, Frogger, PlayStation Underground, Moto Racer, Test Drive, and Monster Rancher. Some merchandise that they started promoting, CDs and t-shirts and books and electronics, kind of like, I think they tied this in eventually to another magazine that they would drop that was more like electronics based, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't EGM, it was just Ziff Davis. The op-ed, looking down the barrel of a machine gun in a memory a person doesn't quickly forget. Okay. An ad for, I guess, $1.49 minute. I guess you could call and get the latest info through the phone for $1.49 a minute. Never did that, never partake in that, so I don't know. EGM next month. EGM 2 on PlayStation Magazine, and some retail ads here. Typical retail ads. An ad for the Game Shark here. And the back is Resident Evil 2. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I appreciate it. This was looking at EGM issue 103. And like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to find things that are interesting to you guys. So if there's any recommendation or anything you'd like to see, let me know. We're building slowly, more slowly than I wanted to, but it is what it is. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.